Hi! Within this lecture, we're going to see how we can hook the target to our framework without having to let them know our link and without having to click on that link. We're going to use a man-in-the-middle attack since we are in the same network, right? And it actually makes more sense to use man-in-the-middle attack because why? Because when we are in the same network, it doesn't make sense to send a link to anyone. How are we even going to do that? We won't know the email address of the target. We won't know anything about the target. They're just on the same network. So we have to find a better way to do this, a smart way to do this. Because we won't be able to send them our actual 10.02.8 IP address or any other IP address as well. And for the outside networks, we're going to see much more better ways to do this attack as well later on. So I believe we should master the inside network attacks for Beef. So in order to do that, I'm going to use BetterCap, and then at the end of this section, end of this lecture actually, I'm going to show you how to do the same attack with man-in-the-middle framework as well, so that we can have various options to inject that script that Beef has given to us to the target so that we can easily hook them up. So when we do that, we would be man in the middle and the target won't even know they clicked on something or they won't even know they are hooked. Okay? So let me close this down because we won't be using our website anymore, but rather than we're going to use BetterCap. So I'm going to run BetterCap in a way that we always did. So BetterCap iFace ETH0. So when we run HAP over here, maybe you remember BetterCap. If you have skipped the BetterCap lectures, I really suggest you go back and do that because we will be using BetterCap in a fast way over here, okay? So remember we had to run net.prob on, net.prob of arp.spoof on and everything. But we're not going to do that in this lecture because I have prepared a caplet in order to do this attack in a very better way, okay? So I'm going to say caplets.show. So remember what are the caplets? So these are scripts that we run with BetterCap attacks. And one thing that you don't see over here, we have actually worked with this HSTS hijack, but you don't see this Beef custom caplet. So this is the second caplet on my list, and you don't see that because I have written that, and I'm going to share this caplet with the resources of this lecture so that you can actually download and use this, okay? So this is shown in this list because I have put that on my user share BetterCap caplets folder as shown in here. So remember, let me come over here to other locations, go to computer, and let me find the user and then share, right? So let's see, yep, share. And then I believe we have to go to BetterCap and the caplets. And inside of this caplets, we have this Beef custom folder. So I'm going to include a zip file. So all you have to do is just download the file and put that folder over here. So after that, you have to open and see those two files, the cap file and the JavaScript file. I'm going to tell you how to edit them and what they do, don't worry. But don't forget to download the folder and put it over here on the same folder. So once you do that, you can open this caplet with LeafPad as we have done before. So what this caplet does actually just set the ARP spoof full duplex to true, okay, and set the targets to 10.02.4. So in my case, my target is actually 10.02.4. So you have to edit this. You have to write the target IP over here. So let me take a note over here, okay, so that you won't actually forget. You have to change the target IP from 10.02.4 to whatever you want. So this actually just set the proxy script to beef custom JavaScript. So this actually injects that, runs that JavaScript on the target, and it will just sleep for 1 second and let the codes do their thing. And then at the end of this, it will just turn on the ARP spoofing, so our attack will start. So in fact, all we have to do is just run the BetterCap with this target. So let me save this. Okay, you will get this final version in your resources anyway. So let me come over here and show you what this JavaScript does. So let me open this with any editor, and here you go. We have this onload function, and this line is actually omittable. So in this case, we have two functions. So if you don't know anything about programming or coding, it's just fine. I'm going to show you where to edit. So if you know a little bit, there is an onload function over here and an onResponse function. So this onResponse function gets called once we get a response from the website. Okay? And once we do that, actually we inject that code, we run this hook.js in this section over here. So all you're gonna do is to edit that HTTP over here. So within the previous caplet, we have written down the target IP, but this time we have to write our own Kali Linux IP over here, because this is being run on our own server. So 10.02.8.3000 for me. So if you have another local IP over here, you have to write it over there. So let me save this. Once again, I'm going to zip them up and share with you later on. So I'm going to exit out of this BetterCap so that I can actually start BetterCap with the caplet. So I'm going to say iface ETH0 one more time, but this time I'm going to add caplet over here, okay, like that. And I'm going to specify the folder that is this beefcustom.cap resides. So this user, share, BetterCap, caplets, and beefcustom, okay, and beefcustom.cap. And this is exactly how you should write this if you have put it in the same folder like me. So in fact, you can just put it on the root and you can just run this with root beefcustom.cap as well, but it's a very good idea to just have all the caplets in the one folder. So here you go, now it's working. Okay, so let me go to my Windows over here and let me run Google Chrome rather than Explorer, because we have tried Explorer in the previous sections. Now let's try with Google Chrome this time. I'm going to go into the unicornitems.com, which is an HTTP site rather than HTTPS. Of course, it will work in HTTPS as well if you break it down with HSTS hijack caplet, but I didn't want to complicate things at this moment because we have already discussed how to downgrade HTTPS to HTTP in a very broad manner in the previous section. So I'm going to test this on unicornitems.com, or you can just test it on any other HTTP website. Here you go, it works. If I come back to Kali Linux, if I open this up, as you can see, yep, here you go, 10.02.4 is in the online browsers list. But if you get any error over here, or if you cannot make BetterCap work, or if you cannot make BetterCap inject that code, you can actually try that with man-in-the-middle framework as well. So we have worked with man-in-the-middle framework, right? And you may want to try to do the same thing with man-in-the-middle framework as well. We are starting with ARP spoof and specifying the gateway and target IPs as usual, and of course with the interface as well. But at the end of this command, you can just add inject JavaScript URL, and you can just write this URL over here. And let me close this down and go back. Here you go. if you run this, this will actually start the man-in-the-middle attack against the target and try to inject that JavaScript URL. So this is the same thing that we are doing with BetterCap, and it's actually easier to do that with man-in-the-middle framework, as you can see. But since now man-in-the-middle framework is deprecated and it's not being updated anymore, we are just making BetterCap our first choice of tool. So I didn't want to start with this. You can actually try this on your own, and you can actually skip the man-in-the-middle lecture as well. You have seen how to hook the target with a link clicking as well, right? So let's go back to our beef. And as you can see, we have this 1002 for in the offline browsers as well, because in the previous lecture we have hooked the 1002 for one more time, and now it's time to learn how to run commands, how to use the beef in a way that we're supposed to use long time ago, but we have seen how to hook the targets, right? So now we are ready to learn the attacks. So let's do that within the next lecture.